Hello and welcome to the Rule 14 video. This video is in the section for conduct of vessels inside of one another and specifically focuses on head-on situations. Rule 14a states that when two power-driven vessels are meeting on a reciprocal or nearly reciprocal courses so as to involve risk of collision, each shall alter her course to starboard so that each shall pass on the port side of the other. So this rule is pretty easy to follow, but there's a few call-outs that I want to ensure that you're aware of. The first one is that this rule does not apply to sailing vessels. This rule only applies to power-driven vessels. Now, another thing I want you to remember is that if a sailing vessel is using their motor as a means of propulsion, they are considered a power-driven vessel. Now, I know that we've covered this a lot in the previous rules, but I don't want you to forget this and then get a tricky question on your final exam and create some confusion for you. The second call out for this rule that's important is that the two vessels need to be heading towards each other and that there needs to be a risk of collision present. Then lastly, if all of those conditions exist, then each vessel shall alter their course to starboard early enough to ensure that the risk of collision is eliminated. And ultimately what will happen is that each vessel will pass each other port to port with a safe distance between both of the vessels. Rule 14b states that such a situation shall be deemed to exist when a vessel sees the other ahead or nearly ahead, and by night she can only see the masthead lights of the other in a line or nearly in a line, and or both of the side lights, and by day she observes the corresponding aspect of the other vessel. So what this rule is saying is that by day you're obviously going to see the other vessel dead ahead of your vessel, but by night you'll be able to see both of the masthead lights in a row and both of the side lights of the approaching vessel. Remember that at night when you could see both of the side lights of the approaching vessel, that is a clear indication that that approaching vessel is heading directly towards your vessel. Rule 14c states that when a vessel is in any doubt as to whether such a situation exists, she shall assume that it does exist and act accordingly. So what this is simply saying is that if you're ever in a situation and there's any doubt, or if you're unsure that you might be in a head-on situation that could involve a risk of collision, then you should assume that there is a risk and act accordingly. And what this means is that by acting accordingly, you would take the responsibility of the giveaway vessel and you would steer clear of the other vessel. This is reinforcing what we covered in Rule 2. All right, congratulations on completing Rule 14. Rule 14 is a very important rule, and I think it's pretty easy to follow along and to understand. So keep studying your notes, and I'll be waiting for you in the next video.